Well, happy beginning to the weekend. Heaven, thank you for not having a third straight day with something that happened to a professional wrestler after having 2 days of having to memorialize the passing of two great ones. Welcome to the Sci-Fi Center Semi-Overnighter. This is going to be a super short one. Uh, my main purposes tonight is one of my main purposes tonight, other than your guys' topics, is to remind you that tomorrow night at 9 p.m., the Sci-Fi Center's Saturday Overnight Live Show is returning to its exclusivity on the Sci-Fi Center's network. So if you have not already subscribed, I am putting the link into the chat right now so that you guys can go ahead and hit the alert on that. There you go. So that's the show for tomorrow. That will be exclusively on the Sci-Fi Center's channel. So we will not be simulcasting on the Point Diction Now. The only time we will be putting that show on both channels is if we have something really big to do, like if we're at a convention, like SDCC was obviously huge. We wanted that, but our anchor show will, from this point on, will air exclusively on that channel. Also, it's hard for us to determine our algorithms and what we need to do, where we need to go with the channel, because it's a different type of audience for the two different channels. So as we try to explore and improve and find out where we need to go, what I need to invest in, what I need to build, I need to have my own algorithm that doesn't include other types of shows. And there are different types of shows on the Point Action Lounge. They're all great, but they're different types of algorithms and things that, as we try to grow our channel, we need to be able to use that data, and that data has to be filtered. So that's one of the main reasons that we're doing it that way. Not because we hate Point Extra Lounge, of course not. It's just a matter of this is our biggest show that I have that I put the most into, and I need to be able to find out exactly what we're doing channel wise, and you can only do that if you know where you're at with raw data. So tomorrow night, 9:30. Well, obviously we'll be talking to Strike and its latest victim, Dune Part 2. Damn it! And we will be talking our regular segments. Our comic book turning point will be J.O. Barr's The Crow, one of my favorite graphic novels of all time. Obviously, it spawned one of the most accurate and best comic book movies ever made in 1994's The Crow. Obviously, that led to the death of Brandon Lee. It is what it is. It's part of that history. Also, our musical cover, our album cover, will be Guns N' Roses' Appetite for Destruction. So we will be discussing not only the album cover, but there's a lot to talk about when it comes to Appetite for Destruction. It's one of the few albums out there that I know of, that I've bought and that I've listened to on a regular basis, whose entire topic is about drugs, prostitution, and heroin. Heroin and drugs included. But I didn't know what Mr. Brownstone was. 11-year-old, 12-year-old me, or whatever the hell I was in 1987, did not know what Axl Rose was singing about when he was talking about Mr. Brownstone until later in life. And I'm like, oh, okay. So yeah, just about every song on Appetite for Destruction is about drugs or prostitution. Rocket Queen is about both. So we're going to go into that one. And it, nonetheless, one of the greatest albums ever released. Guns N' Roses, for a group that released in comparison to some of the bigger bands, Guns N' Roses really didn't have a lot of releases. You have Appetite for Destruction, you have Lies, you have Use Your Illusion 1 and 2, you have the Spaghetti Incident, and then you have some other stuff. But for the most part, I mean, if you compare them to AC/DC, Metallica, Led Zeppelin, I mean, all the other big bands, Van Halen, I mean, they had, in my opinion, a very limited time as far as producing brand new stuff. Doesn't matter though, because when they toured, it's Guns N' Roses. They became that good during the time that they were at the top. So there you go. What else have we got on the menu? Oh, I have watched Ahsoka. It took me a long time to get through it, not because Ahsoka is bad, because I have no use or regard for Rebels. Sorry, guys. And I know that's a big draw to what Ahsoka is. A lot of the characters and reference that show. I don't like Rebels. That's where I got to the point where I'm tired of things that happen within that time frame, and I just kind of lost interest in Star Wars right about then. We are going to talk, like I said, we're going to talk to Strike. We're going to talk AEW's All In, which will be happening like 10 hours after I get off the air tomorrow night. I'm going to try to do a live stream. Also, we're going to be pushing our my brand new Patreon account. If I don't get a chance to do All In this Sunday because of the time difference, we are definitely going to do all Out, which is the next weekend. So we're more than likely going to do a Patreon live stream. And I'll give away stuff, prizes, and all that stuff, digital stuff during that. So we'll be pimping the Patreon page tomorrow. I'm just now getting it set up. It's going to be pretty cheap to get on there because I'm not a guy who really likes to charge a lot because I'm a cheap ass myself. So, but it'll be a lot of fun. There'll be some perks in there for you guys. All right. So I was just watching, watch the stream wrap up there. So I know some of you guys are on there. Jacob McKenzie, how you doing? How you doing, Chappie? Just saw you over there as well. Numbers, long time to see. William, if you were David Zaslav, would you go ahead and cancel Aquaman 2 and get the tax write-off? Or go for it? I would go forward with the release. There's nothing narratively to gain by pushing it forward, and you're going to lose money anyway. So if you lose money, you're going to lose money on it. So it's going to happen before the end of the year. So he gets to claim that on 2023's loss sheet, so it's not going to hurt him there. I mean, I know of him, and I've read some of his stuff. What has he done? Are you Mark Miller or Mark Millar? Mark Millar is great. Mark Millar has done a lot. I think you met Mark Millar. I'm thinking you met Mark Millar. Chappie, how you doing? What's going on, Daniel? Yeah, and it's getting to that point to where the WGA and that SAG are starting to get to the point where they're going to need, in order for the producers to make their case, they're wanting everybody to go on their word that this is where the numbers are, and now they got some weird formula who can see the numbers and all that, and how many. It's like, you know what? Yeah, they're once the studios start showing you the actual numbers of these things, that's gonna really change the game, because not only will they have to, will there possibly be a possible justification for the screenwriters and the actors and the middle grade actors to get more money? It's gonna take away a lot of the smoke and mirrors. Like I said, I'm gonna use Peacemaker as an example. And don't jump down my throat, people who will watch the stream later on. William hates Peacemaker, and everybody says Peacemaker did great. Listen, I don't give a rat's ass what everyone says. I care about statistics if you're going to tell me that, especially if I'm somebody who's going to invest in your projects, or if I'm somebody who's making money off of your projects. I don't care about some rep from WB telling me how great something was without releasing the full numbers, the raw numbers. I don't care about that. So if they have to open their books to that extent, they're not going to be able to say that something was a failure. We can't do more of this, because you'll have the numbers. They can't say that something was greater than it was because they want to save someone's job or extend their tenure at a company, because we'll have the numbers. So not only will this give, the working end of things leverage, it's going to give, it's going to take away one of the major tools that a lot of streamers use to paint things in the narratives that they want them. So it's going to be real interesting. And we'll talk about this more tomorrow when I bring Brad on with me. So okay, Mark Millar. So you met Mark Miller. Oh, okay, Mark Millar. Oh, yeah, Mark Millar is great. Mark Millar has got his hands in a lot of stuff. I don't think there's anybody out there that's currently collecting comics who hasn't picked up something that he's done. I mean, Hitman. I mean, all kinds of stuff, man. I mean, and now he's pretty much in the entertainment industry. So yeah. All right. Why do you think Netflix wouldn't put Rebel Moon in the theaters like they did with Army? Because, and like I said, I was typing in the Vodka stream as much as I could while I was getting ready for this show. Okay. And this is coming from somebody who wants to see Rebel Moon on the largest screen that I can put my eyes on. But that is Netflix product. And I was listening to Steven, who I almost 100% agree with most of the time, but I kind of disagree with him there, simply because the comparison was being made to Amazon and other studios. Amazon has other things to sell you. Their studio is not even anywhere close to their primary revenue stream. Warner Brothers Discovery has other revenue streams. They own networks. They have distribution. They have all the. With Netflix, that is the product, and I think you run the risk. You never want to give somebody a reason not to come for you for the main thing that you sell. And I think it's really easy to say, well, I want to see it on the big screen, but I understand that that's not their business model. And another thing, when you put something in theaters, the studio is the one that pays for the promotion. So not only are we putting this in a theater and possibly hurting, your attraction, you're paying for the promotion, because the theaters aren't going to want it unless you can promote it, because they're not going to make their money either. So you're giving the theater a cut and you're paying for the promotion. All the while, that's not your main, your main product is your streaming service. That's what you do. And somebody's saying like, well, hey, if they put it on streaming, I think it would help. Not really, because the cost and the percentages that you dole out when you do that is something that Warner Brothers, Sony, Paramount, Columbia, Disney, they can all afford, because each and every one of those people I just are companies I just mentioned, the studio is not necessarily the only thing or the primary thing. In Disney's case, Disney Studios is not their primary money. It's a feeder industry for the $38 billion they make on the parks. Those guys can afford to get to shell out money to a middleman, because they get it back on a whole bunch of different revenue streams. There is no Netflix park. There is no Netflix chain of theaters. There is no Netflix music. I mean, you see what I mean? It is what they sell, and they've refined their product to basically cut out every middleman. So yeah, I don't know, other than limited releases like The Irishman for Oscars, stuff like that, but you're talking about less than 600 theaters to beat that qualification. So why I understand the desire to see Rebel Moon on the big screen, because trust me, after watching that trailer, dude, oh man, I'm right there with you guys. But on the flip side, if it doesn't happen, I understand why. Because that is Netflix discipline. They cannot get into the habit of sending you somewhere else to watch their product. That is what they are. So that's why. But I can understand both sides. But like I said, I would not be surprised if you didn't get a theatrical release based on that explanation. All right. William Tada New Blomkamp says District 10 is on hold indefinitely. I don't know if I even want to make it right now, but at some point down the line, it'll probably get made. Well, that's as vague as you can get. Yeah, Mark Millar wrote Civil War. He's wrote a whole bunch of stuff. He's on Wonder Woman. He's done a lot. But WBD said the same thing about House of the Dragon, which I believe because Game of Thrones. But yeah, once again, WBD, Warner Brothers, has multiple revenue streams. That their HBO Max is not their primary source of income at the moment, and it'll be bigger. It'll be a huge significant point once it's all said and done. But the theatrical model is part of what Warner Brothers does. Cable television, Warner Brothers, they own cable networks. I mean, same thing with Amazon. Amazon is a retailer. Netflix isn't. So it's the comparisons really, once you realize that that's what Netflix has to sell you, it would be like me having a restaurant, being a chef and having a dish that I want you to come eat in my restaurant and buy my wine, buy my beer, tip my waiters and my staff, and just making that, allowable somewhere else if that's all I have. If keeping the lights on and your presence there is how I make, my money, I don't want your to put your presence anywhere else. It's not like a TV dinner where Stouffer's can make things in a restaurant and then distribute them. There's no distribution for Netflix, and that's another thing. These other studios have distribution; they are the distributors. Netflix is a studio, but once they get into the distribution game, you have to start doling out percentages that would affect their business model. Yeah, that's I don't want to knock these movies, but to me, I think that they don't really care about those movies. I just think that these are movies that they're ready to take their losses on. Hi, Ray, Glimmering Harpy, how are you doing? Yeah, and they were for a while, Netflix was on there by themselves. There was no competition. Hell, just 12 years ago, I remember you had to put the Blu-ray, but the DVD in a little envelope and send it back in order to get your other ones back. And then for a while, they still had it to where not everything was on their streaming service. You had to be a full-fledged member and pay the extra money to get, to be part of that service to get the hard copies. But now that's going away because streaming is their product. They pay these huge amounts of money because they want you to come into they want you to come into their house. They want you to come into the store. Like, I'm going to give you an example that I obviously I'm very familiar with. Home Depot. Home Depot sells wood. Lowe's sells wood, right? Wood loses money for Home Depot and Lowe's. They don't make money. It's a loss leader. They lose millions on wood. Wood is not profitable once you get it dried, treated, and travel and everything else. The process to get wood from the tree to the store is a money losing prospect. But why do they carry it, you ask? Because there's a whole bunch of other stuff in Home Depot that you have to have in order for that wood to matter. You got to have nuts, you got to have bolts, you got to have nails, you got to have brackets, you got to have power tools. Everything associated with that piece of wood that lost you money is now part of something that is going to gain you a profit because you cannot go without it. And with Netflix, the wood is the thing that they're spending lots of money on. They're big ticket items. They're going to bring you into that house, but while you're in there, so if I'm watching Rebel Moon, that algorithm is going to, as soon as I'm done watching Rebel Moon, there's going to be a whole bunch of stuff that pops up and says, you like Rebel Moon, you're going to like this. And if you're an easy pushover like me, and I start clicking. I never even heard of some of the stuff that pops up when I watch something else, but I'm like, you know what? You got me. I'm in the mood. This looks cool. Click. And now if you have enough associated reasons to stay there, guess what happens when it comes time to rebuild? You leave it on. It's hundreds of millions of dollars you're talking about. But if they give that up, if Home Depot stopped carrying wood, then a quarter of their traffic, if not more, is going to be non-existent. So Netflix has got to be careful with that. Not only do they have a loss leader, if they put it in theaters and places like that, they don't have a way to gain that loss back. I mean, William thought on Denis Villeneuve, Dune movie. Yeah, it's a war movie. Yeah, it's a war movie. Yeah, it's a war movie, definitely. Yes, be sure to smash the like button. Share these streams. Share both the Poindexter Lounge one. Share mine. And also, when you get into the house tomorrow, like I said, I want each and every one of you there tomorrow because I'm starting to feel that I'm getting better at this Saturday night show. I'm starting to feel that it's a lot more structured. I got it organized in my head. I got things timed a little bit better than I used to do. I'm starting to put it all together. So I really like you guys give that show a chance. It's a lot of fun. We cover a lot of ground in the time that we have. And obviously this week there's a lot of news out there. There's a lot of news, good and bad out there, but we'll hit it all. We'll have some fun. So yeah, like, subscribe the Sci-Fi Centers channel. And there you go. There's my youtube.com. Also, if you can't remember that, you can also always go to the sci-fi-center.com. As a matter of fact, let's make that really easy for you. You can always go to there's a banner at the bottom. You can go to the sci-fi-center.com, and the show is going to air from there too. You'll see my little link there, and it airs from the sci-fi-center.com. It goes right to the YouTube channel. and you'll see all of our Instagram, all that. So all of our social media is there. So please like and subscribe, and we'll have some fun tomorrow night. All right. William Thought on Amazon is already in talks about partnering up to develop ESPN streaming service. They're currently looking for the service cost 25, 30. Once again, I don't know if that's the greatest idea, and I don't know if this is going to happen. And one of the reasons why I think something like that might not happen because it's just too expensive, man. You have to understand that as good as some of these services are, if you start getting into the 20 and 35 level, you're gonna start messing with people's finances. That's within the danger zone. These streaming services need to stay under $20, and I don't know if the $20 to $35 one is going to be very attractive, especially for Amazon, especially for ESPN. I mean, I just don't see it. If they were able to keep it lower, maybe, but that's a little bit too high for my taste. Yep, Netflix is ending their DVD service $9.29, no extra charge. If you don't return. Wow, so you're gonna have some collector's items. Cool. Yeah, holy cow! March of next year is gonna be a crowded month, especially since Dune got. Yeah, dude. William, I'll send you a DM about my Vegas questions if you'd be. Yes, yeah, go ahead and send it, Ray. I'll take a look. I didn't think the second movie was that bad, but it wasn't great. My biggest problem with the Crow franchise, and we'll go into some detail tomorrow because we're obviously going to be talking about the source material. Biggest problem I have with the Crow thing is if you know the myth of the Crow, the story of the Crow, if you read the story, the main reason the Crow looks like he does is because there's a mask. There is a mask on his headboard that is basically the first thing he sees when he crawls back from the grave to his department. There's a mask that's hanging right next to his mirror, and he does his face up in that. And so when there's other crows, like what was the crow? What was that? City. It was a City of Angels. They had a real cool song, by the way, by Hole. They redid a Fleetwood Mac song called Black Gold Woman or something like that. Let's see. Okay, so when you look at the Crow, it's not Eric Draven, it's Ash Corbin. And each time that you see the Crow in these things, it's a different Crow. So the way that the Crow looks and acts was unique to Eric Draven, Brandon Lee's character. But yet, when you see the Crow, they basically mimic what he was in that movie. If you read the comics that came out, I think it was Kitchen Sink Press, and I'll bring up some of those tomorrow. Each crow, like there's a Comanche, there's an Indian crow that has makeup, but it's a different makeup that's relevant to what he was going through at the time he died in his environment. The only thing consistent about the Crow from person to person is the bird, the spirit, the one that carries the magic. How the Crow looks and behaves and acts is based on their environment and what they were going through life, how they died and when they died, and all that. That all takes into account when you design and develop a Crow. But when they kept doing these movies, to me, it just looked like a bunch of Eric Draven knockoffs. So yeah, but we'll talk about that tomorrow. Yeah, for another month. A24 and Blumhouse really know how to make movies, and to be honest though, horror is the genre where you can do it. Horror is a genre where you probably get the more bang for your buck out of any other genre. Fun. Hey, William, Blood and Honey getting a way bigger budget for the sequel. Yeah, they're getting like $5 million. Pooh Bear going to get better toys to kill it this time. Yeah, I'm really trying to get those guys on the show, though. Now they're filming this one, and I'll probably never get them, but I'll keep trying. Thank you, Daniel. Oops, hold on. And I don't have my Streamlabs on. I'm taking some more courses tomorrow for Streamlabs, and I'm really close to ditching, not completely ditching, but starting to move away from StreamYard, because StreamYard kind of for where I want to take the channel, StreamYard is kind of limited for what I want to do visually. All right. I don't know if they were still doing Blu-ray or if they were doing Blu-ray by the came around, but by that time I was done with all that. Yeah, things are tough all around, and they put themselves in all the studios put themselves in a bad position with the strike, man. William, did you see that Netflix is worried for the studios to make a deal with SAG? Yeah, and I've been saying this all along. Netflix, in my opinion, has the most to lose. Like, for the same reason why you may not ever see Rebel Moon on the big screen, even though I hope you do, and I'm rooting for that. They have one thing to sell. They don't have a revenue stream where if we go from giving 15% to the writers and the actors to 30% or whatever, I'm just throwing a number out there, then Warner Brothers has somewhere to go where it can absorb that. They can. There's a lot of ways they can move around money. The big studios have ways to diversify that money and take the brunt. Netflix does not. That is the product. That is the product. So they're cutting into the one revenue stream that they have, and that might change their business model. They were, out of all the studios, they were the one that had a legitimate concern about giving more out of their pie than they were currently. Not saying I necessarily agree with them or how they've handled it, but they are the leanest one out of all the people that are at the table. Yeah, you asked me that the other night, and I'm like, that's cool. I mean, I'm pretty sure John David Washington can get work on his own, but hell, obviously he looks like his father, so there you go. Yeah, he said there was now I need to see that. And plus, you know what? I heard somebody was on Twitter describing it's Star Wars with sex and foul language and more violence, and I'm like, you already had me at the trailer. Now you just drew me in. And I love the descriptions that they were giving. It's heavy metal influences. So I don't know, and I'll show you guys heavy metal magazines tomorrow just to illustrate this point where we're at the store. Heavy metal is a awesome piece of literature, and if this movie is anything along those lines, I am loving it even more. But yeah, man. So yeah, according to Steven, there's an axe when she's throwing the axe in the trailer, the red band trailer actually shows the axe going into the guy's head. Oh my goodness. I was already in. Now I'm all the way in. How you doing, Jeebus? Yeah, the Crow City of Angels really does have a great soundtrack. Goldust Woman by Hull, written by Fleetwood Mac, Stevie. I'm Your Boogeyman. It was done by White Zombie. I love that version of it. Let's see. It's a Lonely Place, done by Bush, who in 1996 was huge. Jurassital by Filter, in 1996 they were huge. Seven Mary 3 did Shelf Life. These are bands that were all huge. Linda Perry, she's still huge. She's still a major major producer for Non-Blondes. Knock Me Out. Korn, Teething by the Deftones. Iggy Pop, who basically is like 2,000 years old, running around without his shirt off. So yeah, that was a really good soundtrack. Now the movie I didn't, I didn't, and this is back before they published budgets of these things. So it only made like $25 million in the theater. But yeah, as they kept going along, they just lost to me. To me, they lost the spirit of what The Crow is about. And this remake, and we're going to talk about this tomorrow too as part of the topic, I think I have no reason to believe that the remake is going to be an excellent movie in its own right. But will it be an excellent movie in The Crow's right? Will it have the look and the feel? There were so many things about 1994 and that atmosphere that was there that made The Crow what it was. Those things don't necessarily exist now, good or bad. So it's going to be curious to see how this is accepted. I'm going to give it a shot because even if it sucks, can't take away Brandon Lee's Crow. It'll never change that for me. So it's always going to be there. So curious. But we'll talk about more of that tomorrow. Today was shit. Security here told my car, and I live here. Cost me for. Ooh. Sounds like you're due for a reimbursement, Jeebus. Why did they take your shit? Sounds like some. You should. I hope you're doing this already, but you should be able to show your proof of residency and get your money back, man. That's jacked up. Is there any director you would pick for a Crow movie made today? Denny Villeneuve. Why can't I? By the way, why do I suck so bad that I can never pronounce his name right? Villeneuve. My tongue and teeth, my jacked up teeth just can't form it. But him, believe it or not, I would love to see how Zack Snyder does it. Michael Mann. Ridley Scott, I could see, but Denny Villeneuve, he'd be my first one. But Michael Mann, I would really like to see Michael Mann give that a heat treatment, you know? William thought on Zack Snyder pitched Rebel Moon to Warner Brothers multiple times over. They were like, oh. And remember, we also have to remember who was running Warner Brothers during his time. Now, if he pitched it to Jason, Robinoff, the guys that were there before, and they did it, maybe because they didn't understand the concept at the point. But if he pitched it to the previous, the Tishihara and the all those clowns, yeah, I mean, big surprise, But hey, you know what? Maybe it's for the best, because from what I'm seeing, do you want to refine Rebel Moon? Hell, I'm already wanting the red band. Damn it! How you doing, Azteca? What's going on? I don't know, man. It's only a $5 million budget. I don't think you're gonna see. I don't think you're gonna see CGI. I think they'll keep it cheesy. But you know what? When we get a chance to interview them, I'll pose that concern to them. Yeah, I was actually watching a little bit of it today because there's certain scenes in it I thought were really cool. That's a good name. William thought on Michael Mann says he's had talks to Adam Driver about playing Neil McCauley and he too. All right. I love everything about this, but if you guys have been around me enough, when it comes to prequels, it takes a lot to get me on board with prequels. I know how Neil McCauley ultimately ends up, so it's like, I would rather them do a Heat movie further down the line. I mean, give me something else. Give me a brand new slate. I love the idea of having Adam Driver play a character in there, but not a familiar character. I would get guys like Andrew Garcia, guys like that could play Chief. I mean, let's make a new movie with some new stuff. I don't need to know what happened before Heat. And I hear that's a prequel. Obviously, it's a prequel because, spoiler alert, the movie's been out for nearly 30 years. Neil McCauley dies in the end. So yeah, I don't want to. I know more prequels, unless they're gonna tell me their story like they did with Godfather 2. You're gonna tell me, if you tell me a backstory at the same time you're giving me a current story, like Godfather 2. For those of you who haven't seen it, they're telling the story of Don Vito Corleone, who obviously died in the first one. They're telling you his backstory, how he came to America from Sicily, how he was hunted and all that, and how he became what he was. But at the same time, you're getting the current storyline with Michael Corleone. If they're going to do that, then I can take it. I can take prequels if you're giving me something new along with it, but Blumhouse would do Crow, yeah, low risk, yeah, because they could, yeah, he's the movie's done, I think. The movie is done. Hold on, I think it's done. I think it wrapped. Crow 2020. Hold on. Let's see. Production, film, and box office. Popular culture, soundtrack. Oh, wow. The Crow had one of the greatest soundtracks of any movie, possibly the greatest soundtrack of any single movie. All right. Crow is an upcoming American supernatural history directed by Rupert Sanders. He's done some good stuff. Ghost in the Shell. From a screenplay by Zach Balan. It stars Bill Skarsgård as Eric Draven, the Crow, murder musician. Let's see. The film entered development, in 2008, with Stephen Norrington stating that he would write and direct a reinvention of the Crow. It entered complicated production progress. I heard that before. All right, where all the cast Eric Draven during various points of development. Skarsgård was cast as Eric Draven in 2022, and Sanders was hired to direct. Filming began in July. Oh, wow. So it just started shooting in July with locations including Prague and Munich. Its budget is $50 million, which ironically is what the first one made in the box office. $50 million is nothing. They'll make their money. So I can tell you right now, depending on how they promote it, and this is an independent company putting this out, they could get their money back on this easily. All right, filming, principal photography. Oh, no, this is done in July 2022, so this movie's done. Prague, paperwork tied to film production by August 26th, blah, blah. On September, this film wrapped last year. On September 16, 2022, the film wrapped production. Post-production, September 22, virtual production of the film occurred in Pingsing Studios in Pingsing, Germany, my birthplace, Berlin. While the digital asset creation of VXS work occurred in Bavaria, Germany, where BMWs are made. The film is in the first major international production shoot of the studio. Let's see. So it doesn't tell me when. Okay. The international distribution rights to The Crow were shopped to various buyers in 2020 canceled. Wow, they're still trying to get it a distributor? So the movie's done. It's just trying to get distribution. Hey, how you doing, Dark Knight? Long time no see. Hope glad to see you back. David Ayer, South Central Crow movie. The Crow was in South Central. If the Crow was in South Central, I would kill him and take his power too. Well, you can't kill him. Well, you'd have to kill. Remember, they tried to kill the bird in the original one. Remember, they were shooting him, and you couldn't kill him. So. Yeah, well, he got screwed in that process. So I agree with him. I wouldn't. Once you got screwed or something like that, it's kind of like a sore spot. The Crow City Evangelists can have a director's cut. Weinstein had the movie cut down so much and reshot too. Weinstein, he's not cutting anything these days. How you doing, Belcher? What's going on? Yeah, make sure you talk to your, like I said, your lease and your proof of the fact that you live there. You need to get your 460 back, homie. That's messed up. They said I needed a permit. I can't get one. They're okay. That sucks, man. Sari, I miss you. I miss you and your accent. When we bring on guest, I might bring on some guests tomorrow. I need you to I just want to hear you talk. So it's Denis Villeneuve, like groove, Villeneuve. All right, got it. Thank you. Yeah, those two would be in the running for me. All right, good. Glad to have you back. Like I said, I'm gonna do one of the things I'm gonna add to our Saturday night stream now that I feel comfortable with it, and where it's going is I'm going to add in a call-in section for it. So be prepared for that, guys. Be prepared to have your questions and your points and everything else. So tomorrow, towards the end of the show, I'm going to put the link in the chat. And it's Sari, if you're there, I'm pushing you to the head of the line because you have a cool accent. Hey, Aaron Pritchard, I want to hear your Aussie accent too. William, do you think Netflix will hold out if things finally go underway with the studios? Because doesn't Netflix also have to come to the table too? Yeah. like I said, I think they'll be the sticking point because they have the most to lose. William thought on Anton Foucault and his plans to make a documentary about the Pittsburgh Steelers. What era? The entire era, or the 70s era, or just in general? Like the 70s where they were the steel curtain, the Iron Curtain, steel curtain. Jeebus, did you hide your weed? Yeah, another L. Not gonna lie, I feel horrible saying this, but I don't want Jamie Foxx for Spawn. I want them to bring back Michael J. White in a soft reboot. I want Fox to have his career renaissance. So I think they're going to end up going with somebody much younger because they're both in their 50s now. WV stay taking L's, yeah. Yeah, and you know what? We're in a new regime, new hierarchy, and I like I said, as much as I wish them well, they're off to a start that I just would not have planned for them. I just think that you have a certain window of time to where you can make a certain set of decisions, and they just kind of like, me too. William, thoughts on 20th anniversary of Pumpkin Spice season, aka the greatest season ever? People lose their damn minds over Pumpkin Spice. I was in Starbucks today, and I guess they ran. They either didn't have. I wasn't paying attention as much, but I heard Pumpkin Spice. And all I know is the lady was upset. So it hadn't started yet, I guess, or they were out or something. I thought this woman was going to lose her mind. And I could relate to her because when I go to a Starbucks or something like, and they're either not open or, they're out of something, or I can't, for any reason I can't get my coffee, I feel your pain because now I got to go to whatever environment that I have to exist in and make everyone pay. If I got to go to work and I haven't had the caffeine flowing through the veins, everyone around me, coworker, everybody has to pay. If they see me coming in the door and they look at my hands and there's not a frap or two in each hand, then they know there's going to be a problem. I have had people look at me in the face, see my empty hands, see me frapless, and immediately send someone to go somewhere to get me coffee because they didn't want to deal with me in that mode. So I can relate, but this Pumpkin Spice is like crack, man. It's like McRib. It's like people were like, you have it yet? You have it yet? What do you mean you don't have it? I saw an ad. I got an email. It said you had it. I mean, she was like, wow. And I just wanted to put my hand on her shoulder, man. I'm not a big Pumpkin Spice guy. I get one Pumpkin Spice frap a year, but I understand, man. I understand. So, yeah, that's a strong brand name, and they make sure that you only get it once or twice a year. Once a year, I think. I don't know. He does still yuck long, so yeah. It's not so bad. I have a new girlfriend who wants to pay for everything because even though I have money, I'm considered poor compared to what she makes. Oh, so you got a sugar mama. Congratulations, Jeebus. Oh, William, Donald James Gunn implies he has plans for Chris Pratt and DCU. That doesn't surprise me at all. And to be honest with you, that's one of the things I don't mind. I don't mind him using people that he's worked with. That makes the production process a lot easier when you can surround yourself with people who you trust and will be less of a wild card. Title. I predict they're going to win the title. They made it to the Western Conference Final on some of the worst circumstances that I've ever seen a team go that deep. They had a crap team with Westbrook eating up 90% of your salary along with LeBron and everybody else where they weren't a very good basketball team. None of the pieces they had worked. They were under 500 and 13 games out of a playoff spot when they made the trade and got the pieces that they got. They took that team, went on a mad sprint, made the play-in, won the play-in tournament, got to the Western Conference Finals, all with a team that only had 26 regular season games playing with each other and very limited time getting used to each other. Now they're going into the season with all these pieces in place. Everybody's healthy. Everybody's coming in with knowing each other. I think, to be honest with you, yeah, they got swept by the Nuggets. But to be honest with you, credit to the Nuggets, big deal, whoop-de-doo. That team, the Lakers, were gassed. They literally had to run at full speed with a brand new team just to get to the Western Conference Finals. That's not going to be the circumstances this year. Rudy Hachimura is coming into the season with you. You know, D'Angelo Russell is going to get better. He hasn't even reached his prime yet. And you still have LeBron James, and there's probably the best defensive player in the latter half of the season, if not the whole season last year, and Anthony Davis, a healthy Anthony Davis. So I am going to be pretty pissed off if they're not NBA champions in 2024. I'll take the Andy Garcia guy. Oh, yes, I would. They're talking about doing it, but probably missed the boat. I don't think so. Andy Garcia still looks great. If you were going to do a movie, he would be the equivalent of a John Gotti type character, and he'd be perfect right now. He'd be perfect. And you place it in the 80s. You place it in the 80s or the 90s where the decline of the mafia is happening and all the Omerta is going away. Yes, I have. I was watching that, by the way. If that was a North Hollywood shootout, I was watching that live as it happened. Numbers, since this month marks the 20th anniversary of its release, what are your thoughts on Freddy vs. Jason? I absolutely hated that movie. At that point, both characters became jokes to the point where I could no longer respect the IPs. I'd already been done with Jason. It's just, but I never needed those two to get together. And at the point at the time that they released that movie, it was just, they were, to me, in my mind, as a fan of both those IPs, they had already been played out and ran into the ground. I mean, you can't knock Mahershala Ali, two-time Academy Award winner, one of the better actors of a generation. I mean, it's not like they struck out, Do people realize Mahershala Ali went to Kevin Feige's office to play Blade? It was not the other way around. Yeah, he wanted the role. And like I said, when a two-time Oscar winner comes to you and asks you for a role, and he's that good, I mean, it's hard to say no to that. There's a reboot of The Crow, but we don't know how the release date is for the movie. Yeah, it's done. It was done. Like, apparently, it's going on being done for a year. Can you say Netflix? I'm just kidding. It might end up on a streamer. Hold on, who's sending me? ESPN Fantasy Games. I don't know if we're using ESPN this year for our fantasy league, but it's that time. It's fantasy football time. The one thing that can make some of these useless, boring, downtrodden games, may have any excitement. I'm not watching the Browns versus the Bengals unless I got action on it or I got players in it. So, woohoo! It's that time of year again. I love your accent. You know what, Sri? And we're going to have you on, and I'm just going to have a list of words that I want you to say that I just want to hear in the accent. I'm just going to have you recite them like in as many syllables as possible. It's just, and in that accent, it just lowers my blood pressure. I might start speaking with an accent. I don't know. You generally don't unless you have a distributor. If you don't have a distributor, you don't like you doing that. Thank you, Cherie. I miss you. I've heard some recent commentary that it's too late to restore Resolve the Snyderverse and that the brand is too tainted at this point. What are your thoughts on that? I think that's bullshit. That's just an excuse not to take the brain power to do it. Now, at some point, you will have no choice to resolve what came before because people are slow to the uptake. It's a credibility problem you have with DC. It's not a quality problem. Everyone I heard that went to go see Blue Beetle liked it. I liked The Flash. I very much enjoyed The Flash. I had fun in Black Adam. I've had fun just about all these movies. But the general audience just doesn't trust DC with their money. And part of the reasons why they don't trust DC with their money is because the only evidence they have, the only example they have of their handiwork is incompletion. No one has a good answer for why I haven't seen a proper Superman on the screen in a movie in 5 years. Nobody can give me an answer why the hell it's taken damn near 5 years to make an Aquaman sequel after you made $1 billion after the first one. No one's giving me a proper answer why I'm seeing characters that no one gives a rat's ass about headlining movies. Nobody. So people can say it's too late to resolve this. What are you using that time on? And I'm not saying you need to resolve it at the expense of your future plans. What I'm saying is your future plans don't have much of a chance unless you do. You are literally asking people to trust you with their money for this brand new unknown when they see what you did with their money with the known. Like I said, it's like having a junkie relative or a degenerate gambler relative, and he keeps coming back to you saying, hey, just 20 more bucks, just 30 more bucks. This is going to turn out right. This is going to turn out right. And he keeps losing all the money. At some point, you're going to say, hey, buddy, I love you. You need to go get some help. You're not getting any more of my money. So, yeah, the people who sit behind computers like, us and Slapback Keys and pundits and all these other guys who have no skin in the game can tell you to move on and do all this other stuff. But the production companies, the studios, are asking for your money. Johnny No Name YouTuber is not asking for your money. I don't have to trust him. A pundit on Twitter or somebody with 1 million followers or whatever is not asking for you to trust them with the money for the movie. They're just trying to get clicks and they want you to become a member of the site. That's their thing. There's nothing wrong with that. It's okay for them to say silly shit like that. But James Gunn is literally crafting a universe in which he will turn around and say, I want you to buy into this. And like I said, if all I purchased from you ended up in incompletion and lacking, it's going to be a hard ask for me to give you any more money. And I feel bad because I'm intrigued about some of the stuff he has to put out. But like I said before, I think the first wave of Gods and Monsters is going to take it right in the balls. It's going to be like getting kicked right in the nuts by a goat, those first few movies around. Because people are going to lean back and they're going to set back and they're going to wait for them to come on streaming or PVOD. And if they're good, then guess what? Your second round of Gods and Monsters, that's where you're going to make your money. But we're talking 2.5 to 3 years away from getting these movies out as it is. Now we're talking about another 2 to 3 years to get sequels and other movies in the rotation. So you're talking about not being able to turn this thing around and get traction for like 6 years. Do you have that kind of time? So it's too late to continue without credibility. That's what it's too late for. But you know what? Hey, what do I know? Yeah, they made money with Barbie, but they didn't make all the money they needed with Barbie. I mean, when they needed 2 or 3 Barbies this year to come out. Yeah, they took a win with Barbie. I don't think it's funding the whole 10-year Gunverse, no, but yeah, it's funding some stuff now, But at the same time, like I said, when you're in much debt as they came into the situation with, Barbie helping them out was great, but what they needed was for these other movies. Because if you look at what they spent on marketing and reshoots and everything else, they're blowing about $1.2 billion just on movies, some of which they never should have made. So the money that came in from Barbie basically padded the losses, unfortunately. Yeah, here we go. Got those pumpkin spice zombies out there. Yeah, that's why I sat out Blue Beetle. I was just exhausted, and I didn't see anything in the near future that intrigued me. Yeah, his slate intrigues me, but his slate is just words right now. I cracked open that big old can of pumpkin puree. Can you bring some of that shit with you and come to Vegas? Chappie, yeah, and you had your high hopes for David Zaslav and James Gunn, and we're still I still do. Like I said, even with the missteps that I believe, my opinion that they've made, I'm sorry, they are infinitely better than those who they replaced. Emmerich and Hamada and Sarnoff and TJR, their predecessors sucked. So they have stumbled, Zaslav and all this stuff. They've made, in my opinion, everybody can disagree if they want to, some key mistakes. They haven't made the sheer amount of mistakes and screw ups that the previous regime did, but they have made some key mistakes that I think will hurt them down the line. And you needed to get out of the gate, and you need to have a certain, a certainty about what you were doing. And I don't think they've done that. And I think that not only has that hurt with the movies that were in the queue when they came on board, I also think that's going to have significant damage to what they plan on doing. I hope I'm wrong, though. Coffee is life. Yeah, me drinking coffee is why you get to live today. Yep, exactly. Or at least have a decent day. Oh, wow. I never thought Azteca Aguilar was going to be somebody I had to time out, I'm just kidding. You know what, though? Rhea got me Dutch Brothers, and Dutch Brothers is good. Tell you what, Azteca, when you come to Vegas, if you hook me up with whatever your preferred brew, I'll try it out. It's an easy way to get somebody to buy me coffee. People are pissed at doing it. Yes. People as in me. But it's only till March. No, don't say that. That's like 1,000 years from now. No, I mean, well, here's the thing. The reason why they pushed it is because they can't promote it. So if this strike is still going on and they still can't promote it, I don't know if that's going to be the date. You might end up seeing it get pushed to a summertime, blockbuster time, which would really, really, really suck. It sucks that I don't get it on November 2nd. It's going to really suck if I got to wait till next year. So let's not talk about that right now. No, I think that plenty of people appreciate him. I think he's one of the most polarizing because people do, they have their opinions about him, and they feel that, if they don't like Zack Snyder, they need to scream it out to the rest of the world that they don't like him and berate his fans. And, if there's some people out there that are kind of a little bit on the crazy side and take things too far, they don't have enough brain cells in a lot of cases to separate us from them. But as far as people appreciation, no, look, his movies made money. Lots of people saw his movies. Lots of people went crazy over that trailer. So no, I think he's I think he's one of the higher regarded directors out there. Hey, listen, if you guys are going to start taking down my Starbucks, you need to be. I'll put the address of the Sci-Fi Center in there. You need to be sending me some bags. Yeah, there are lost a lot of people free agency, and plus, like I said, the teams in the West got stronger too. So yeah, you're gonna have some issues there. Yeah, classic garbage, but okay. Hey, listen, everybody, to each his own. To each his own. Originally, it was supposed to be Ash versus Freddy versus Jason, but since the rights to Ash are another studio, yeah, that would have been really hard. That probably would have saved it. And it would be a great Godfather Part 4, but how do you go bigger than $1 billion Catholic conglomerate? Oh, easy. You got to realize Michael Corleone was trying to go legit with Immobilier, the company that he was buying from the Pope and the Catholic Church. Vincent did not have such capacity. Vincent had the mind of an old school. You saw how he acted. He was basically Sonny Corleone, but a little bit more calmer and refined. Still had the temper, but you just had the feeling that Michael, as an older man, he always wanted to go legit. That's why he moved got out of it in Godfather 2 and moved to the casinos and gave the family over to Clemente and to Talia and all those guys. Not to Talia, but Frankie Pantages. But Vincent grew up in the life, so he wasn't had any interest in going legit. He wanted to be the Don, and so I think he would continue on with that. I don't think he's going to have much to do with Immobilier. Yeah, I remember him bringing that up. I think he said that. That's cool. I was working with Bruce Campbell agent years and years ago to try to get him out here. And this was, but he got the job for Burn Notice, and that was it. I never got close to him again. Let's see. Just checking my emails, making sure that you guys are sending me things that you want me to answer while I'm on the air. Okay, cool. Yeah, almost getting towards the point where we got the legit people playing. Cowboys made a trade for Trey Lance. What? I don't get that. Yes, I do. I hope it happens while Francis Ford Coppola is still around. I mean, yeah. I don't get this trade. I don't get this trade for the Cowboys. Didn't we just pay everybody recently? Not we, but the Cowboys. Didn't they just lock all their people up for years? I don't know. Like I said, I enjoyed Black Adam. It was fun. It was a mess of a movie, but it was still fun. I haven't seen Blue Beetle, and I love The Flash. Yeah, I mean, they didn't, I guess, giving up a fourth rounder. I mean, yeah. William, do you think in the future you'll be able to have a rock band members at the Sci-Fi Center? And if you do, there's a place downstairs from me called Get a Haircut. He's not just a barber, but he knows a lot of band. He personally has memorabilia that Gene Simmons gave him. If you look at my pictures, and I might post them tomorrow, he has two of Eddie Van Halen's guitars sitting in his barbershop. I posed with them. So if there's anybody that can get me any rock band, it will probably be them. But who knows? It is Vegas. I want to get Lacuna Coil when they come back out here. I really enjoy their music. I got a chance to meet him at Comic-Con. Man, is she hot at 51 years old. The entire band is in their 50s, looking way better than I could. I took a picture with them, and I'm like, I'm aging like old soda. They're aging like fine wine. It's not fair. But I'll try. Yep, hit the like button, share the stream, share this stream, share Enash's stream, and share tomorrow's stream. That will be exclusively on the Sci-Fi Center's channel. How you doing, Fourth? That would be the easiest way because it's the cheapest. And like I said, my idea before is to make a box set and make really cool high-end Blu-ray releases. And I know physical media is dead, but not for the special cool collector stuff. That stuff you can still go to, Best Buy. I know we have Zia Records here. They don't sell the regular stuff that often, but they sell that cool stuff. People will buy that stuff. And you cut up the story and you put a piece of the story in each one. Like that scene where Darkseid is on at the Mascara and Wonder Woman sitting on the funeral pyre. That part of the story is in the Wonder Woman DVD release. The turning of Superman by Darkseid, that's in the Man of Steel box receipt. The Flash, with him on the treadmill going back to talk to Bruce, all that. Each part of the story is in part of the box. And like I said, the Batman one would be the Batmobile that's in BVS and the pops off, and you have your Blu-ray in there and your digital release in there. And you got two figures, one of the armored Batman and one of the Superman that you could put on the top of the Batmobile the way they were standing in that scene. Wonder Woman's comes with a shield and a little sword that you can kind of take off and use as a collector item. Aquaman's comes in as both of his the little skin of it could be his orange and green, and then the other one is his armor, and you got a little pitchfork that comes with it, all kinds of stuff like that. And then the one that has them all in it would literally be a spear with a lenticular hologram. When you turn it one way, it's the anti-life equation scorching the entire planet, and when you turn it the other way, it's the planet back healthy again with the JL logo. You put each of these pieces of the animation in there, and then you sit down with James Gunn and say, hey, guess what? We want you to put in the special features and all that. We want you to put teasers and trailers and synopses and stuff of your stuff in there. So while we're selling this stuff and closing this loop, we're giving them solid ground to jump into your stuff into. That's the way they should have done it. Or they should have just done a Kingdom Come movie and then, all that way. But like I said, I don't know how a bonehead like me can come up with this, and you got Ivy League educated people who've gone to business school and film school and all these things, and they continue to make the kind of mistakes that cost them hundreds of millions of dollars. But hey, that's just me. I'm optimistic, but there's too much talk and not enough action. We could got one more show from this new multiverse this year, and yeah, I mean, and the strike didn't help you, right? Got me two Chroma familiars. About to start watching Asteroid City with my dog later. All right, man. See you later. Thanks for stopping by. See you tomorrow. Well, pretty much every decision that Toby ever made has been boneheaded move. That's well, yeah, that's why they got moved along. There's a local coffee drive-through in Corona called Mojo's Coffee. Really good. Oh, that's right. You're in Southern California, and they're not in the Empire, but you were right next to us. I grew up. I mean, I lived on one of the bases I lived on was March Air Force Base before they closed it down. Now Walter Amato, while is definitely to blame for some of the mess at DCU, but he was just put in a bad situation from the beginning, and plus he had bad leadership. But he does well for her. And I always said that he was just a bad fit. I said that at the beginning. Yes, I did. So I got mixed. Like I said, I have a review coming tomorrow. I got mixed feelings on Ahsoka. I think it's a good show. I just am not enjoying it as much because I could care less about Rebels. I don't care about Ezra Bridger. I don't care about Sabine Wren. I care about them as they are in front of me right now as I'm watching them, but their backstory means nothing to me. And I think you kind of need that to enjoy this fully. So, but I'm giving it a shot though. I think Rosario Dawson was born to play this role, so I'm having a lot of fun with her. Starbucks got me with those star points on the app. I racked those up. But yeah, I do. Me too. Vincent and Godfather's the Sunny Son in every way. Remember when he bit Joey Zaza's ear off? And Michael's like, tempered just like his father. He calmed down towards the end, but lost the love of his life like Michael did with Apollonia. Yeah, and he lost his cousin and Michael's daughter. Maybe that's when we'll see him change. Yeah, I think he'll become more ruthless. Let's see. Toronto Freddy, how you doing? I would consider Freddy and Jason more of a guilty pleasure. OG Elm Stream. Yeah. The old stuff before it became goofy. Yeah, those do great there. Yep. I think Blue Beetle. I think an announcement on Blue Beetle is pending. I wouldn't be surprised to wake up Monday or Tuesday morning and we have a date. Because our third string quarterback is garbage and the preseason Will Greer looked promising, but yeah, damn. So 49. Yeah, if I can get him. No. Tomorrow we're going back to streaming the Sci-Fi Center's overnight show exclusively on the Sci-Fi Center's channel. We had been simulcasting it, but now that we're done with Comic-Con, we're done with a lot of stuff. We got to, and here's the link to it. Ghost of Visitors. We're going back to that show being exclusively on that channel so that we can analyze, get all our analytics, and get all of our algorithms because we cannot properly build the Sci-Fi Center's network unless I know where my numbers are coming up, what I need to do, what I need to invest in, because Enosh's algorithms, even though he hasn't streamed in a while, there are other things that go on his channel that skew my algorithm so that I don't know exactly where I need to go. I mean, so we'll still do our shows like this, and the small ones and the streams. And when he comes back, we'll be on his panel. But the show that we actually edit and put together, that's going to be on Saturday night exclusively at the Sci-Fi Center. And if you don't get the link, you can go right to the Sci-Fi Center website, sci-fi-center.com. Because it'll be streaming live on the front page there. Let's see. How you doing, Kingdom of Nerds? Let's see. Yeah, the overnight with Brad Kern. Which of these are the best or more space slasher? Leprechaun. Oh my god. Jason X is the worst. Hellraiser, followed by Hellraiser Bloodline. And the best of these, believe it or not, is Leprechaun 4, which I got tricked into renting. Because when you rent Leprechaun 4, it's just in a black package with his face on it. And it doesn't say Leprechauns in space. When I pop that in, just thinking I'm going to get another Leprechaun movie, and I got Leprechaun, you see the Leprechaun logo come up, and then it's under it in space, and I'm like, ah, shit. Because like I always say, once the franchise goes to space, it's over. It's over. Yeah, or they just got, I mean, you figure they got a brain trust. There are people who make millions of doing this. What's going on? I thought it was decent for what it was, but it was a stupid idea to begin with. Like I said, and some of these things, even like it comes down to Blue Beetle, some of my disdain and just not, not even disdain for Blue Beetle, but some of my like, I'll pass on it type of attitude goes is like, while you were making this, but I can't get a Superman movie. You're giving me dogs and pets and wonder monkeys, but you're not giving me Superman. So yeah. Toronto Fetty, Pointer Shine. William, I've been working at the Backlot Studio for the past couple of weeks. It's been quite an awesome experience so far. Okay, cool. Walter Amato was in a bad spot, yeah, but he did make some questionable decisions. I don't hate the man like other fans do. Yeah, I don't hate him. Yeah, I think Walter Amato made some bad decisions, but I also thought that he wasn't the guy that should have been making those decisions. So there you go. Yeah, I think it's going to make its money. I think it'll go into the profit zone once it gets on PVOD streaming. Missy Metropolis, I love that name. We'll drink some white coffee, as strong as fuck. I'm buying Blue Beetle 4K Blu-ray. Yeah, a lot of people are going to. And I also, I think a lot of people are going to watch it on PVOD because, like I said before, that's the perfect movie for it. The green beans are strong. Where are you at, Missy Metropolis? You might have to bring me a cup. Lexi J, how are you doing? Any particular ASOIF spinoff? Rumored. Okay, I'm not going to claim to be smarter than I am. What is ASOIF? Or ASOIAF? What is that? Hold on. I don't know that acronym. I'm sorry. It's probably something I know, but I don't. ASOAIF. Oh, A Song of Ice and Fire. Okay, wow. I am as diehard a Game of Thrones fan, and I don't know why I have never seen that acronym for Game of Thrones. Usually people put GOT and that's it. But okay, any particular I'm okay, Jon Snow. I'm definitely interested in the Jon Snow storyline. I'm interested to see because I don't think the House of the Dragon is going to stay on the current storyline. I think once we're done with the Dance of Dragons, I don't think Dance of Dragons is going to go for more than one more year because they're where they are at in the storyline. I think that we're going to jump around into the Targaryen timeline, and I think you're going to get to the point where it meets up with Jon Snow, who is a Targaryen. So I think so. I'm looking forward to that. I don't want any more prequels. If we're gonna go with Game of Thrones, I want to go beyond. If so, yeah, that's what I'm hearing about so far. I haven't heard anything else. Jon Snow. I heard there's going to be some animation going on, but I haven't heard a lot since. Oh, is Belle here? I didn't see Belle. Is Belle here? Where's Belle? Oh, behind. Blue Beetle is cute. Oh, okay. Nah, I hadn't clicked on the thing. I didn't look at the icon to see that's Belle Red. How you doing, Missy Metropolis? New name. Okay, I love this one. So hopefully you don't have to change it. I miss you, Red. I miss your streams. I don't get my F-bomb quotas anymore without you on the air. I know. I need to find you if this is your channel. I'll find you. Yeah, she haven't seen it. Yeah, I'm in the same boat. Yeah, not in a good way, Ghost. Not in a good way. That movie sucked. That movie sucked. The only saving grace in that awful movie is that the one where he puts the girl's head into the cryo freeze and cracks her head open once her head is completely frozen? It had some cool kill scenes, but the movie was just like a video game gone wrong. But hey, if you loved it, Toronto Freddy, it's all you. Yeah, it might be streaming real quick here. Hellraiser 4 is getting original director's work print, and okay. Cool. Hellraiser 3 is my favorite one. But by the way, I had Doug Bradley out here. He'd been on my stage. I had him out here because we both have the same birthday, September 7th, and I had him out here for 3 years in a row, and he did audio commentary for Hellraiser on my stage. I have pictures of that. All right. Yeah, I sorry, Lex. I had never seen that. I had to Google that because every time I've heard of Game of Thrones, it's either throwing Game of Thrones or God, or But I've never. I'm like, gosh, that's a lot of letters. I mean, what the hell? And I didn't want to claim I knew something and that I didn't know, but now I know. Wow. All right. We've gone about an hour and 18 minutes. What do we got here? Not really. I think there are certain elements that are already in Trek that have horror in them, and I think that's as far as they need to go with horror. Like you see the Gorn, the Borg, you see things like that. Like I said, I think that the heart of it is exploration. But there are horrible elements out there in space that you're bound to run into. But I think that they meter it well. All right, guys, that's about it. About an hour and 20 minutes. I got to get some rest. Saturday is my big day on all fronts. It's our big show day. It's my big retail day. Saturday is the biggest day of the week for us, so I got to get some sleep, some non-Benadryl induced coma action. And like I said, be sure to like and subscribe, but also most importantly, make sure you're subscribing and hitting that bell for my channel because, like I said, as we move on, there are going to be certain things that are catered just for my channel that fit what my channel is doing that I want you guys to be on board for if you choose to be so. So I want you to know about those things. So like and subscribe. Share the stream that I put into the chat. That stream will be happening tomorrow at 9 a.m. live. 9 p.m. 9 p.m. William does nothing in the a.m. 9 p.m. Pacific time. So, and that'll be live. And we got a lot of ground to cover. We have a lot of fun with that show. So, if you haven't already subscribed to the Sci-Fi Center's page, I will go ahead and put that link in there for you as well. And there you go. I mean, I put it in there a couple of different times, but I'm going to do it again. There we go. All right. Kane Hodder is and was made in Toronto. So I hate that's fine, Toronto, but I just that movie. Oh. All right, Azteca. See you later. Kane Hodder's great. I've actually met him out here in Vegas. All right, guys, that is it for me tonight. Once again, I started off the show with it, and I'm going to wrap up the show with it. As this week, in the last 3 years, have proven to all of us that we're not, invincible and mentally and physically. And if you need a lifeline, if you need help, 988. There's somebody at the end of that line who has gone through what you have gone through, that has contemplated what you are contemplating. And I do my streams at a time of night where a lot of these thoughts settle. There's a good percentage of these people who harm themselves who do it at night, overnight, when they're alone. 24/7, call, text, chat. There is another end. There's another side to what you're going through. And the fact that this line exists and the fact that these people are on the other side waiting for your call is living proof of that. Other than that, I always say, but if you're watching this show, you be happy that you're in at least somewhat good enough health, so that I'm not, having to memorialize you at the beginning of my streams before you turn the age of 40. So take into account all this, have fun with all this stuff, and if you need the help, get the help. There's other resources for you to get help, but this one right here, it's three. Everybody's got a cell phone. Everybody can count to three. That's three numbers. It's easy. I've tested it out because we're gonna have some of these guys on this show. Just to see how quickly, because a lot of people ask me, does it work? How quickly? Yes, they pick up. There's always somebody there, 24/7. Somebody will make the connection and will guide you through, um, to where you need to be. It's a day by day process, and here's one of the tools getting to one of those days. So, all right, guys, I will see you all tomorrow, 9 p.m. Have a good night.